Only on S3. Open up. This Election Watch feature is brought to you by Kagiso Trust. Follow the hashtag #RememberMe initiative.
Yes, indeed. I think we've had a fascinating journey, between us at SAFM and the Kagiso Trust, because they've set up this conversation every single day, in fact, called Remember Me, as part of that call to remember those who voted before, but also to encourage you and I, in spite of our differences sometimes of which political party, but essentially at its core, they're saying, vote. Please, please vote, because that is a vote for the entrenchment of democracy in the country. So let's get another take on the Election Watch Remember Me feature with Reverend Dean Nevhutalu, and that's Nevhutalu. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated. You, of course, are a trustee of the Kagiso Trust, right?
That's right. I am a trustee. I am also a former chair of Kagiso Trust.
Okay, well, really a privilege to talk to you. Sort of prefacing the connection first about Kagiso Trust being on the program here every day and the importance of encouraging the vote under that hashtag Remember Me. Internalize it from yourself, and how do you feel about it?
I really feel great, because it brings me back again in contact with, I can say, our forefathers who have shown us the way, and they have struggled so much for freedom and democracy in South Africa. And so if we can, when we talk about hashtag Remember Me, we actually get in touch with our forefathers and the values that they stood for.
Now, how important is that? You see, on the one hand, when we try and convince people to vote, we say vote to entrench democracy or vote for whichever party you think is best served to provide a life that will be life-changing for the majority of South Africans. You're saying, as part of Remember Me, in fact, also it's a reminder to say, look at the thousands of people who've actually got us here in the first place.
Indeed, we have to think about it, because we always say that we must remember, especially in South Africa, that our democracy was not cheap. Just for us to be able to get the right to vote was as a result of the struggles of many people. Some of them who paid dearly, ultimately with their lives. A lot of them suffered. Few are still with us during this particular time. But it is quite important we keep on reminding people and ourselves that let's not take this democracy for granted. It's a treasure that has been won for us, and we have to make the best of it. So when we are at the time when we are called upon, for instance, to participate in elections, it is part of making the best of the democracy and the sacrifices of our forefathers.
And therefore, in terms of Kagiso Trust in particular positioning itself, because you have a fascinating history, the trust that is, positioning itself around the issues of democracy and Remember Me. Tell me about that.
Kagiso Trust, it positioned itself primarily along the vision of a prosperous, peaceful, equitable, and just society. That is the vision of the trust. And it seeks to foster a community of responsible citizens who will participate meaningfully in the economy in order to make an impact for an equitable South Africa. So we continue to believe that we have got a number of pillars as Kagiso Trust, but we continue to believe that education is critical to the eradication of poverty in South Africa itself. Yes.
Now carry on. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that if you would recall quite well, that the founders of Kagiso Trust, people like Beyers Nodi, Max Coleman. I don't know if you've heard of a person called Max Coleman.
I've certainly known
Professor
it. And Chris Coleman, or Neil Coleman, is his son, if I'm not mistaken, who's part of the Institute for Economic Justice, if I got that right, yeah?
Yeah, I know when we talk about Kagiso Trust and the struggles that people actually waged during that time, people like Max don't seem to appear quite a lot because, you see, Max was a background person, but he was the pillar, the really anchor. He functioned in Kagiso Trust very quietly. In fact, for information, I was recruited to join Kagiso Trust by Max Coleman.
There we are. Okay. Yeah. So
I was quite young, Ashraf.
Yeah.
You know, I was quite surprised because I was young, and I think that's another issue which is very important because it was in 1986. You know how old I was in 1986, Ashraf?
Well, you better tell us. And you got 30 seconds to tell us.
I was 26 years old.
Okay.
And here I was picked up by people like Max Coleman, elderly people, to say that, please come and work with us, you know, at that particular age.
Well, you see, you were a 26-year-old lighty, but they saw something in you that was quite a gem, and they said, "Holy, we need to get this guy on our side because here's someone who can really contribute." And you've clearly done that. So let's leave it at that. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated. We'll continue chatting about the Election Watch and the Remember Me campaign as part of Kagiso Trust here on SAFM all throughout the elections itself. Much appreciate your time, Reverend Dean, and that's Nevhutalu, Nevhutalu, who's a trustee of the Kagiso Trust.
This Election Watch feature was brought to you by Kagiso Trust. Follow